Hello, hello. Okay, everyone, we have our last speaker for the evening from License Rocks. So please give it up.
Hi everyone. Hi everyone. My name is Daud. I'm one of the founders of License Rocks, and today I want to present you our latest project, which is called Berlin Collective. And there we are talking about the intersection of art and music. You heard that a couple times, why it makes sense. Tonight, if my slides work. So where we are coming from, in 2017, we got together and we were making fun about blockchain use cases. But then we said, let's think about something that makes sense. And we said, licensing is going to be a killer application for decentralized technologies. Nowadays, everyone will admit that this makes sense. 1 second. Okay, I did something wrong.
No, it's not your fault.
Should I keep on talking or?
Yes.
So,
Can I go?
so we started with selling used software because we came across a European law that stated you are entitled to sell used software if you can prove the chain of ownership and also the license right chain, but just for on-premise licenses. And we did that out of insolvency cases.
Is it the right one?
No, that's... and we did that out of insolvency cases, and we also did various NFT projects together with brands and institutions and corporates. And in 2020, the government started to prohibit insolvencies where we got our software licenses from that we tokenized with NFTs. So we said, okay, now it's a good time to approach other verticals. And then we got to a point where we stated we looked at our product and we said our product is super good built for that insolvency use case and for software, but it was not versatile enough to come up with different use cases for NFTs. And we still think that we're in an exploration phase, so you just have to try out things. So it was really important for us that we build something that we can really fast see what kind of needs you have and put it into our product. And by mid-2021, we decided to develop the collective Berlin idea. Why do we do that? Because we're a white label provider. That means we're a little bit far away from the end user, and we think you need to learn from the end user. So I did tons of interviews, and I came across 2 segments, and they also have a nice intersection. So on the one hand, we have music, and on the other hand, we have art. And if you think about music, we have a problem with the rise of all those streaming platforms. And you as a musician, you get 0.001 to 0.006 cent per play. And then you even have to split that, and you have to wait for your money for a few months. So you can imagine how much streams do you need to make a living out of that. And on the other hand, that market is really dominated by the major labels, and there are no live gigs because of Corona. Plus, there's a super high dependencies on different platforms, labels, and publishers. On the other hand, if we look at the art market, we have limited exhibitions because of Corona, but we also talked with tons of artists which had problems transforming their physical art into digital art. And their problems were, how can they use decentralized technologies? What about ownership and copyrights? And what was really funny in these interviews, a lot of artists told us, when we told them that we're also talking with the music industry, they told us that with various artworks, they can tell what kind of music they heard while doing their artworks. So there's already a natural connection of some of the artists to music. And what if you get those two together? So we solved that by educating musicians and artists in that space. And we started 6 months ago. I think we have with workshops, meetups, and stuff like that, we educated 300 plus people from that space just to see what the power of NFTs and decentralized technologies could bring them. And also what we want to do is if you think about an NFT, you always have like a visual component, yeah? And that visual component is, for me, something I like to refer to a digital canvas. And that digital canvas can hold any kind of art. It can be a 3D object, a video, it could be some picture, illustration, you name it. You can place anything there, and you can combine that. So if you have that, and if you see those two industries, so it makes sense that there are collaborations between them, and for that you need an arbitrary amount of splits that you can build into your smart contract, and whenever you sell those NFTs, these splits are getting distributed in a fair manner over that collaboration project and everyone who was involved there. And also everyone is talking about when is mass market or mass market adoption for NFTs. There's one big thing that we have to think of. UX sucks big time when it comes to blockchain. Yeah, and we, from the beginning on, we recognize that, and like with us, like in our solution, you need the mail, just a regular mail, and you can log in. You don't have to come up with a browser plugin or with a wallet. We designed it for people who have no clue about crypto, but still want to participate in that. And also, if you think about all that, like the stuff that we didn't hear, there are two things that you also have to consider, and they're super boring and not my cup of tea. It's the legal aspect, and it's also, on the other hand, the taxes you have to pay. And a lot of these projects, like which are launching, I love everything that is launched out there, but I think, like if you look at them from a legally perspective, they're not really how should I say it, compliant to what we have out there. So for musicians, when I talk with musicians, and the same thing counts for also artists, fans are the key. Why? If you think about that you like a musician, do you care about under which label they are contracted? I don't care. Yeah, and if a musician understands that and builds up their own fan base, that is the real value they can bring along. Yeah, and if you have your fan base and if you interact with your fan base, what you can do is if you drop them a token, all of a sudden you have a direct distribution channel to them, which you can use for doing airdrops. And airdrops is an NFT that you would just drop for free to another wallet address that you know. And if you distribute it, we had that talk about avatar projects. If you, for instance, give people free NFTs and build up a community like that, then what you can do is you can airdrop them later on other NFTs. And now think about token economics and incentives you can program in to your whole community you want to build up. You can kind of tell them what kind of incentives they can get considering what they do with their token. So if you don't want them to sell their token, you can tell them, as long as you hold your token, I give you access to something. And that access can be exclusive content, but it could be also something which would be really powerful. You could imagine that you're selling an NFT as a musician or as an artist for a future project, and you say, if that project yields money in the future, then part of that money is going back to these fans who are holding the token. So you're solving almost all the problems or almost everything a label would do, because a label is there for marketing. So if you do your own social media marketing, you don't need a label for that anymore. Then they're there for distribution. Distribution, as I told you, is mainly done in a digital fashion. So there are service providers for that. So you can book one of them. And the third part is the financing part. And if that financing part is also solved, then there's no need for a musician, if they have a fan base, which is big enough, or if they can build it up, to go with a label. And labels start to recognize that right now. So we think the future will be you have to collaborate, but you also have to offer co-owning in your projects. I mean, right now, a lot of times, like companies treat us as products because they are taking our identity and assumingly it's free, but they're using our data. With Web3, what we can offer them is we can benefit, or we can give people like who are early adopters, we can give them a share into our later product. And like that, they become promoter for our products. And we think we have to go a few steps. So the first step is just purely educating people and start taking their hands and start doing introductions between different people that they would need and that they can produce NFTs in a collaborative way. So the second part is what we want to do, because we're a Berlin-based project. We came up like with different avatars which are representing the Berlin Bear, yeah, and we are going to establish like a seed crew out of which is composed out of different people you would need. So you need someone who knows something about the legal side, about the tax side, the taxes, then also about marketing, what we heard. And then you need artists and musicians, and you probably need to think about associations which are doing something for them. And you need to bring them all to the table, and what you need to do is you need to let them be creative as they can go. So you shouldn't give them any constraints in the beginning. You just should tell them a little bit about what NFTs can do. Then you should put them in a room and just mingle around ideas, and then something great can come out of it. So the next step that we want to do is we want to create then a DAO, and in that DAO we would have like voting rights on what happens to the solution in the future. And everyone who's part of that seed group and who's holding one of those beer NFTs will get drops for voting tokens. And with these voting tokens, they can vote in the DAO if we are prioritizing this feature or that feature, or if we are going to the left or to the right. So it's community driven. And then on the last part, we need to talk with the BaFin, which is the German SEC, and they are making recommendations for the legislative side, which laws will come. So we need to talk with them and tell them what we want to offer, because what we want to offer is for early adopters that they get tokens so they co-own the whole solution. And then at the end, if everything works out, if you hold tokens, you will receive passive income, or active if you're still co-creating NFTs with others. So if we look at the whole NFT space, we believe the art market is a little bit hyped and a little bit overpriced, because it's really easy to manipulate prices there. But we also talk with tons of different brands. We were 2 weeks ago in London on one of the largest licensed brand fairs in the world. And we talked with, I would say, over 80 brands. And there was, I think, one brand was there who was not interested in NFTs. About 15 to 20, I would say, already did something with NFTs. And the whole rest was super interested in doing something with NFTs, but they didn't have any clue what they could do with it. But we believe NFTs will stay, but we will see a drop in the art market. And if we look at licensing overall, we can see that Western Europe is like the second biggest market on the whole world. But if you look at the US and Canada, that's even the triple size of that market. And that market is growing. So what does that all have to do with the metaverse? I mean, if you think about the metaverse, we believe that decentralized technologies are the secret sauce that the metaverse needs. And why do we think that? If you think about a more and more digitalized world, what do you need there? You need to prove that you own something, and something digital. And what is that? That's the NFT. And then you can come up with different business models. And these business models are often based on micropayments. Traditional payment providers won't offer you that, so you need cryptocurrencies to do that. And if you combine those two things, then you can do a whole lot with the metaverse. And we think besides proving ownership and also using that crypto payment, it's also what I mentioned, that offering of pre-financing a product in the future is something that is really powerful. And if you think about the metaverse, a metaverse consists out of different, let's say, different square meters or a land or whatever. You can sell that. Like we heard in that example before, frames are getting sold. You can sell things in that metaverse, and you can give people an option to earn money with that metaverse. And that's what makes it really powerful. And if you think about a musician, what I told you right now, they are all of a sudden really independent. They can choose which service provider they are taking, and they didn't have that up to now. So we believe we have to come up with a DAO so we can govern and co-own our solution in the future. We also believe that we have to build up like a creative ecosystem with not just artists, not just musicians, but with all kinds of different people who would be beneficial for the community overall. And we believe we can build here from Berlin like a digital license collective for these people to create later on passive income based on their creativity. And we believe the whole thing should also have like an educational standpoint, because what we do right now will be beneficial if we promote it in a transparent way for anyone who wants to get in that space, and then they know who they can go to, what steps they have to do, and we want to do everything like that, that we publish everything in a public way. So we're going to launch by end of December. We already have the solution in place. That's going to be our white label solution. It's going to be open sourced in the long run. But we have to work first on the token economics. It always sounds super easy, but it's not easy. So if you scan that, there's a type form. If you want to be part of that, just drop us a message, tell us what you can bring to the table, and we definitely get in contact with you. And also what we're offering on a regular basis right now are workshops which are free of charge with artists and musicians, where we are telling them how they can start co-creating NFTs. So thanks a lot, and if there are any questions.
Yeah, is there any other questions?
Hi, I have a boring question.
Boring, what?
Boring, but fundamental, just based on my recent experience. So, what are your thoughts on the transparency of digital wallets? And, you know, say I really want to get into this decentralized way of doing things, but I don't necessarily want every single transaction that goes in and out of my account to be fully transparent. Are you thinking about hybrid models, or like how? I'm just really curious and trying to learn the management of privacy as well, because it's like I'm trying to also contextualize in what sense does decentralization work and what ways doesn't, because I personally find myself feeling a bit uneasy sharing every single transaction on my bank account.
Well, the trust that is enabled is due to transparency. So there are mechanisms how you can get around it. Like there's mixers, like if, for instance, I'm not too sure if that should work also with an NFT. So you can send like a transaction to a mixer, and a lot of people are doing it. And then these transactions are getting mixed, and then you don't know who sent the money to whom, because there's a bunch of people in that pool, and you just send it to that pool. So that could be a solution. But then you're the first ones, when the regulatory side kicks in, that they will look at, because that's what drug dealers would probably do, or people who would do something illegal. So, I mean, do you want trust or do you want privacy? Both? Okay. Well, hopefully someone is working on it.
Yeah, actually, I would like to add on here. Yeah.
Oh, so sorry.
Yeah, so you should check out Secret Network. They are developing a network for running smart contracts in a private mode. So it works similarly to Monero, for example, that you don't know how much money a wallet has, but they are able to also execute smart contracts using the same type of privacy technology.
Yeah, thanks for that, and that's the beauty of it. Like everyone is building something, and if you look at all these solutions, like I always like to compare it to Lego blocks. Like if someone comes up with something like that and you come up with an issue like that, you can take that Lego block, probably try it out, and if it fits to your solution, you already have something else that someone else developed who thought about just your problem there. And that's the beauty of it.
Hello. Can you go a bit into detail about how you manage DRM and files? Like when you send out the music, when I purchase the music, how does it work?
Well, it's kind of the same thing as Kiko told us what they would do. So you have an NFT, and to that NFT you have like some publicly accessible files, and you have private files. And what we did in our solution, you can add as many private files as you want to. So you would just see the name of the private files, and we would recommend to, whether in the description of the NFT, tell what kind of private files are there, or come up with a naming for the private files so you see that. And then once you buy it, then a token URI is being displayed under which the files are lying. And before you won't see them. Does that answer your question? Or, but the thing is, like what most people like, especially when we talk with the music industry, most people think NFTs is a digital right management tool. That's not the case. It's even worse. There's something, do you still know Private Bay? There's something from Australia now, it's called NFT Bay. Like you can extract like all the media assets behind NFTs if they're decentralized stored. And I always told to the people in the music industry, someone just needs to build a tool like that, and then you can extract all your music. And that's also why the whole music industry hates decentralized storage at the moment. So those are just some crypto punks, yeah, or people who really believe in decentralization who are doing it in that way. There are often still centralized solutions in there, especially for storage.
Hey there, right over here.
Oh.
Do you have any experience how long it will take to work with a BaFin regarding the tokenomics? Because it seems like it would take some time to figure that out with them, right?
Yes, but it always depends on your project and who you approach and what kind of access and knowledge that person brings along. So we're working, for instance, with an attorney who advised two regulated NFT marketplaces and went to all these processes. So he knows who he needs to approach, what he needs to write, and how he needs to phrase it. But it's always based a little bit on the use case. If there was no use case like that before, it's sometimes hard also for the BaFin to grasp what you want to do, and they need to understand it. And what they do is they give recommendations. I mean, they are giving recommendations for the legislative side, and out of these recommendations, they are making laws. So that's still a few years until we're totally safe from the regulatory side, but you still should prepare for that.
Can you give us a ballpark, like 1 month, 2 months?
Oh no,
I know
about a
all
year
depends.
or longer.
Oh wow, okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, got you. Thanks.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Okay.
But sorry, I might be wrong. I can ask again, but I think it's a long time. So whenever I ask someone, they were shaking their head, so that means it takes a while. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks so much for presenting License Rocks. Okay, everyone, that was our last presenter. I just wanted to thank everyone for coming. This was our first NFT meetup. I think it went pretty well. And I especially also wanted to thank Dennis from NFT Club for providing the visuals and all the teams that presented. And I guess we'll see you in the metaverse. Yeah. Don't forget to follow Musee Dezentral and RaveSpace on Twitter. Bye.